Hello, hello. We are live. So I'm going to give everyone some time to, let's see here, join. All right, let's see here. Add. Bum, bum, bum. Welcome, everyone. We'll get started once we get everyone introduced to this live platform. This is a new type of streaming for, I guess, Restream. I'm testing this out, so that's why I've been doing on and off. If anyone's been wondering, this is kind of this new way to stream really cool different platforms. So if you are on here, if you want, turn on your camera so then I can see who's here. If not, totally fine towards the end because we'll do Q&As at the end. And then you can chat. You should see on, if you're on the Restream, you can chat in the box to ask me questions. There's a Q&A. If you're not sure how to do that, put it in the chat. Just be like, how do I do this? But put the questions throughout the spray tan. I will probably have to mute some of my spray tanning sections. And then once we get to certain points, I'll stop and then hop on here. And that way you guys can ask me any questions you have. Let's see. All right, let's see. Let's test this out. If you guys are in the chat or on here live right now, can you say where you're currently, what city and state you're in? Now I can see, because I'm, like I said, this is so new and I'm super excited because I've never done this. Okay, cool. So I have, it looks like a private chat. Let me see, how do I add this? All right. Florida, Indy, I love it. How do I add this to? Let me see if anyone is having any issues. Just because, like I said, this is a new way of streaming. Okay, cool. Add Liz. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Oh, hey.
Hi.
I didn't mean to do that.
It's okay.
I'm honestly at the bar, and I was like, shit, I need to jump on the phone.
Oh, my gosh. All right, I'm adding people to the stream.
Wait, do I mute myself here?
Yeah, definitely mute yourself unless... That is hilarious. Yeah, definitely mute yourself if you're on it right now. From Restream is this platform that I'm using. So we're streaming across Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. I am testing out this platform. So yeah, if you're joining us now, everyone, if you can, we're just getting everyone into the platform. So just mute your video, I guess. Let's see here. Boop, boop, boop. Okay, cool. How do I make this unprivate? Oh yeah, you're in the backstage. So that's okay, let's see, I'm learning everything here tonight on this platform. Can anybody see, hi Meg. Can anybody see anyone else that's on this, or is it just like does it look like it's just me right now? So if you can type that in the chat. Just me. Okay, cool. Well, yeah, it looks like it's just me, but I see a lot of faces, which is kind of cool. Kind of love that. I can see just your camera, but I can see the chat. Oh, cool. So can you see other people's chat? Okay, cool. That's what I wanted to make sure, so that everyone can like comment, and then that way, that's what I wanted. Okay, cool. Like I said, this is a new platform. It's brand new, and I'm launching to see how it works. And then we'll get started in about 2 more minutes. So if you're on here, amazing. grab yourself a glass of wine or a mocktail, or if you're in bed, enjoy and learn something new. If you're on the Restream platform, you'll see that there is tools and bars on the side. It should be like that on yours. That's why I said to do on a laptop or an iPad. If you can't, I totally get it. But there's QR codes if you want more information about what you're learning. I'm going to just keep adding people as we go along. If you are just joining this, if you can, just mute yourself. I love it. You got your wine. Yes, I got mine. Mine actually has a really cool saying. It says, sometimes you've got to put on your big girl boots and prove that you can use the pointy ends. I'm sure, Liz, you really appreciate this one. I feel like this is like a Liz glass. I actually got this at Goodwill when I first moved to Arizona. So cheers to everyone that is here to learn, get educated. That's the whole point of me thinking this would be actually really fun to show people how I spray tan myself, because I feel like a lot of us business educators, technicians, spray tan artists, new to the game, been in it for so long. I get so many questions, and at the last Beauty Business Babes event, I literally spray tanned myself, and Jameson, I love it. I spray tanned myself, I'm not kidding you, the night before I left for the event in 5 minutes. And I'm going to show you guys tonight how the tips and tricks that how I spray tan myself. And then if you want to learn more, I have, my one-on-one contour sessions that I've been doing for almost since I moved to Cali. So gosh, 12 plus years I've been teaching this. But I've been spray tanning for 15 plus years. So if you are new to the game, this is the great time to hop on and learn some tips and tricks. If you want to get really integrated, I would absolutely recommend booking a one-on-one session with me or becoming a Glow Gang member. So this is just for fun, and it's not anything to take serious. And that's why I said grab a mocktail or a drink and enjoy. I hope Instagram doesn't censor this. Cross our fingers, ladies. I put on a bikini, and then I have a little tube top that I'll be wearing. And then what I think I'm going to do is, I believe because of this platform, they're going to mute me as I get further away. If not, I'm going to probably mute my mic as I'm spraying myself, and I'll take breaks. And then that way it's not too loud. So if it does get loud, just turn down the volume when you see me spraying myself, if it doesn't do it itself. All right, if you're joining this, we're about to get started in, 2 more minutes. So that way we have everyone enough time to hop on. I'm going to check the other platforms because we are streaming live on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and one more. So yes, just mute yourself. That way that, okay, let's see. Yes, so looks like we are streaming on all platforms right now. Amazing. And let's see here. If you are just jumping on, just put your city and state, or if you're streaming from Instagram or from Facebook or from YouTube, welcome. Just mute yourself on camera, and we're going to get started. Let's see here. I'm going to make sure on my personal Instagram that, like I said, this is a new...
Well, hey, Liz.
All right. Okay, cool. We're going to get started. All right. Cali. Live in Texas, salon in Cali. Love it. Okay. Well, we're going to get started. And if you guys are new here, my name is Chrissy. I'm with Glory Glow 2G Spray Tan. I have a mobile, my specialty is mobile, but also my online academy. I've been doing this for 15 plus years. So if you guys are shy or new to the game, welcome. If you're a seasoned veteran, which I think some of you guys are on here, I hope you learned something new from today, from both the beginner to master level. That's always my goal, is you learn something new that you didn't know, or you get refreshed on something that you're like, wait, what? Okay, so I already prepped myself, and I'm gonna say this. I also, for people that were wondering what spray tan solution I was gonna use, I am using Glaze tonight. I am using Glaze because I have never used Glaze before, and it's a water-based solution, and I'm using the original and 14% DHA, which is up there. I'm using it because, like I mentioned, I've never used it before. I live here in Scottsdale, Arizona. This is my home base and flagship. I have another salon in Orange County, which is amazing. And I also love how much more hydrated I am in Orange County than I am in Arizona. And you have to play into consideration when you're choosing your spray tan solution for your main avatar. So your base of where you're at and what's going to do best. My absolute favorites are X-Tan and Black Magic, and Nuda. Those are the three main solutions I always use on my clients, depending on their age demographic and how the spray tan solution is going to settle on more mature skin versus going on vacation, young. It really depends. So I have three main categories for my spray tan solutions that I kind of rotate through depending on client, like I mentioned. And then someone mentioned that I have to try glazed. So I'm trying glazed tonight for the first time with you ladies. And if you've used glazed before, amazing. What I have heard and what I have noticed, that's why I waited this long, is it's probably more for the younger skin type. I will see how it lasts on me. And another test to try when you're trying out new products and you're spray tanning yourself is to use it without a prep or an after spray. So like I said, I love Nuda's first sip and last drop. I was going to spray tan myself with the first sip, which is a prep pH balanced spray tan solution. Obviously no DHA, but my point is it usually helps getting extra oils, balance out your pH, and it's great. And then I was going to set myself with last drop. I'm not going to tonight because I want to see how it lasts, what it looks like, what the results are. I'm 38 years old and I have not touched it because a lot of the branding that I've seen from Glazed is a lot of a younger demographic. And my demographic, my avatar is age 35 up, and it is not the girl that is just woken up out of her bed for college. That's not my demographic. My price points also don't reflect that. So I use very, in my opinion, higher grade solution base, which is higher percent of oils, higher percent of hydrating ingredients, anti-aging, hyaluronic acid, more of those things. Because someone, just so you guys know, someone can claim to say they have hyaluronic acid in their spray tan solution, but it might be insanely diluted. So these are really, really crazy things that I think we need to be more aware of as spray tan technicians is when someone claims to have something in their formula, and I used to do product manufacturing and ingredient deckings, by the way, is to think about and test, and that's why I do this on myself especially, is test to see what the results actually look like with that kind of claim. So with X-Tan, with Nuda, I like I always say this, hands down, I have the best results with how it fades. It doesn't have patchiness, which usually means there's more or less of something in the ingredients. So if there's alcohol, if there's less hyaluronic acid than they're claiming on, their formula, you need to pay attention to that. So hopefully from the get-go right now, you have some really great tips of what I just mentioned when you're using products, because it's also your time, your energy, and then how it's going to last on your client. So like I said, I already prepped myself. I already used my barrier cream on the areas that I want to have prepped, which are my hands, elbows, knees, feet, and ow, that hurt. Okay, so we're gonna get started. And what I wanted to also point out is when I prep my clients, I absolutely make sure that I go through that information that I just shared with you guys. Hey, by the way, I'm using a very high grade solution on you. It has XYZ ingredients in it to help preserve the life of your spray tan. So I'm making sure that I'm prepping you correctly, but also I send you your prep information so that we have the best outcome of a spray tan. All right, let me move this here. Okay, cool. So you guys can see me. Yes. Put it in the chat. Say yes. If you can't see me, your camera's off because I think everyone can see me so far. Okay. Yes. Cool. Amazing. So one of the biggest tips that I think I have heard from anybody, you guys are about to get this right now, is how to spray tan the back. How many ladies, put it in the chat, have issues when they're trying to figure out how to spray tan their back? Yes, yes, yes. Okay. The worst, right? This is my absolute hack that I have been doing since high school, by the way. And I used, not a plunger, but I used something else in high school. those cleaning things, and we've obviously upgraded since then. So let me show you. It's really simple, but it's not. Okay, so what I have, and I have a link for all of this, is on Amazon. I don't get paid on this if you guys want. It's literally the best thing since sliced bread. And then I'm going to use Xtan, Miss Kelly Callahan, her mousse, because they're both water-based. So since I'm using glazed plus Xtan tonight, this is what I'm going to be using. So I always shake up the mousses, by the way. So depending on the brand, whatever it is, I already prepped my hand. So I do have some barrier cream on there. And then what I'm going to do is just pump, just like that. And because I had to like really protect myself, I'm afraid, because we are streaming on other platforms, that I was going to get censored. I covered up myself more there. So usually I'd have a little bit more exposed, aka naked. But this is what we're going to do, is to get your back, ladies, when you're spray tanning yourself, use the amazing extender along with a self-tanning mousse so that you can literally just, adding people in as we're doing this, get your entire back, because I don't like to wait on anybody. I don't have a husband, I don't have a boyfriend, and I like to make sure that I can get things in like a 5-minute spray tan when I'm running a little behind for the night. So if you can see, I'm literally setting my back. So anytime someone asks, how do you get your back? This is how. I know it sounds so silly and it sounds like it's so simple, because it is. And a lot of people don't think to do this because they just think you have to spray tan your back. I get, like I said, the extender, X-Tan mousse, because it's both the same base. And I just go like that. There goes my mirror. I just go like that across. And you can get all of the angles just like that as well. And then you can get down here. I usually wouldn't have this right here. So this is how I'm gonna get majority of my back with it having some color and not being discolored. As you can see, we're going through there. Does anybody have questions so far? Like I said, it's the most simple, basic thing, but I don't think anyone thinks to convert their self-tanning mousse to their spray tan. And I'm still gonna spray tan myself, but this is how literally you're gonna get it. If you get something on yourself, great. Blend it in. These areas are really hard to get, so get it just like this. Go like that. Use the rest to get your back. These are the hard areas to get. Okay, cool. Everyone square with that? Let's see. Yes. All right, next I'm gonna use, and I have quite a few different options for spray tanning myself. I have the Nuda, which is amazing. I also use Maximus Light, which is my OG favorite. And then I have the Maximus Pro, which is my absolute favorite that I usually spray tan my clients in. This has a cord. It's a little bit more hard to get. So if you don't have one of these guys, I highly recommend it because it's gonna make everything so much easier. So I'm gonna start with my upper body and then we're gonna go through. I'm gonna show you the areas and positions that I do, but this is gonna make life so much easier. It's cordless. I also have a backup battery just in case, but when you're in a rush, you can't wait on your boyfriend or your husband. Like I said, start with your back, get the areas. You can tell I'm already getting tan. And I'm gonna go through one more time and show you guys with the spray tan. But my point is, get the areas that you need to get first as your base. And this is my mirror, so I gotta have something. That way you're set. Okay, so if this is a little loud, let that go. But I wanna show you guys how I get started with my main upper body. So I'm just really hoping it's around. Okay, cool. All right, boobies. Hopefully I don't flash you guys. Can you imagine? So I'm gonna start with my face. In my face, I'm gonna just do basic. I'm not gonna do my normal contour that I'll be doing with one-on-ones, but you can get an idea. Oh, before we get started, if you don't know, when I teach this, I taught it at Slay the Spray, talked about it at Beauty Business Babes. I spray tan horizontally. So that is another thing that I'll get asked a lot. It's because of my technique and my pressure with how I teach and how I do my own spray tan. So if you're wondering which way, that's the way. Okay, the next part, as you can see, I've started on my face and I've started to go on my outline. That's another part of my techniques that I do is I say outside, inside. And then the upper part of the hand, the arm is really hard to get. And I'm gonna show you just now how I do mine. If you know how to take a break, so you probably couldn't hear that, obviously. All right, did you guys all see that? Okay, show us how you have your nozzle set. Is it vertical or horizontal? So you can actually see literally the difference in my color already. And then see that with the underarms. I am a freak about trying not to spray tan the armpits and the elbows. So if you noticed when I had my arms up, I made sure I then also went like this and I went at an angle so that I started up here, went down, and then I let go through there. So horizontal nozzle, and I make sure a lot of my positioning makes sense for where it's going off of the bone versus going into the bone. So if you're gonna start doing your own arms when you're spray tanning yourself, and you're gonna start right there and go up, rule of thumb, most of the time, you're a lot more heavy-handed when you first start and you're pulling the trigger, plus it's ourselves, right? So it's a lot harder, you'll notice. So my point is that you should start up here and go down, and you're gonna let go of the trigger so that you have less in this area to have saturation on, because you're spray tanning yourself, especially when you first start, it's gonna be difficult. I've been doing this for quite a long time, and as you can see, there's a technique to all of this. It's not easy, but it can be done, and that's why we're going through it today. Any questions so far, put it in the chat. I'm gonna keep continuing my upper body so you guys can see. I just did that with my right hand. Left hand on my other side is a little bit more difficult just because obviously it's not my strength. So why I mentioned having that start up there. And then also as you're going through here, I stop, I don't go through my armpits, I then go through there and finish. So as you're going through your arms and you're spray tanning yourself, you're not gonna wanna keep going in one stroke, excuse me. A lot of people I've noticed when they spray tan, which is fine, they do all the way through. You are going to hit your elbows, which are going to be highly saturated if you're doing one stroke all the way down. And because you haven't had as much control, you're most likely going to hit your armpits a lot more that way. So I say when you're first practicing, you're spray tanning yourself, let it be light, play around the way I'm teaching, because this is how I've been spray tanning myself. Every single event I spray tan myself and I get asked who spray tanned me and what tone and what did I set to, what color I did, because it usually turns out the way I want it to. Because if you've been doing this for quite a while, you'll understand your own tones, right? So I'm gonna finish this arm so you guys can see. and I just proved myself right. My hand was a lot more heavy when I started, and that's why we have brushes, and that's why we start up and go down, because I just fixed that. Okay, so I'm gonna continue. Reading your guys' comments as I'm going through. Did anyone notice or see how I did this movement because of this side? So between that side and this side is a very missed area usually when you're spray tanning yourself. So make sure as you're doing your arm, you turn it and get this side right there. It's a very missed area. And that's why when we start, I mentioned doing the self tanner with the mitts or the extender, an amazing thing to start with. Okay, so one of the parts of boobs, I'm going through boobs right now, is when you're spray tanning yourself, especially when you have larger boobs, go like this. I have obviously something on right now, but I normally, when I'm spray tanning myself, I'll go up this way as well because you can't raise your hands and really spray tan your whole boob. You can do one side and do it, and I'll do that. But try to lean back and get that because this under area, you have, your hands moving with your gun compared to someone that's able to move both hands like you would with your client. So that's another little tip. A big thing that I do, let me move this down as we're going down, is I make sure I go in sections. So if you've ever seen me spray tan or talk about spray tanning or taken my course, I talk about how important it is to go by sections. So if you haven't noticed, I've been doing outside in and in sections. I let go of my gun when I get close to areas. And if you didn't notice as well, I let go of this hand to go to this side to have more control. Because we're spray tanning ourselves, we don't have the body in front of us to be able to be more malleable and move our hands. So try to keep that in mind as you're spray tanning yourself. This is just one of those things that you're gonna get practice on as you do yourself. And this is why you're here on this live, because I'm showing you some tips and tricks that would make life a lot easier. And we're gonna move down to our legs. Let me take this thing. Okay, there we go. All right, do a little recap real fast. So what I did is, if you didn't notice again, I went in sections of my entire leg in a downward stroke. So again, away from this area, something that I've noticed as I spray tan every skin tone there is on this planet, which is what I love to do, is us as females, especially when we shave through here, if we're super white, if we're darker toned, there's more of a discoloration usually just because of the hair growth, right? So what I try to say, especially if someone's naked, to a birthday suit, you have to be so careful with what's in here going in here. So keep that in mind when you're spraying yourself, and also just clients in general, is protection, but also that downward compared to upward into the vajay. We want to keep this area as protected as possible when we're spray tanning, just because those are just one of those things that we don't want to get clients saying that they have yeast infections, or sorry, this is TMI. I've never, knock on wood, had that happen, but this is because your technique to yourself and to your client should be more of a downward stroke compared to going up in there if they're not wearing anything that is protecting this area. So that was just like a little pro tip too. And then as far as the legs go, as I was going down, if you notice, I went again in these sides. I stopped at this area, and if you didn't notice at the very end, I made sure to blend because I already prepped with barrier cream through there. And I think this is a very dysregulated area that a lot of people miss, is they spray, again, that whole pattern all the way down, which is fine. But my point in what I'm teaching for myself and how I spray tan is I like to make sure that I don't go in the areas that are usually going to have oversaturation. I live in Arizona, where it's an insanely dry climate. And a lot of people, especially if they're more on the aging side of life, we're going to have more dry skin. And then those areas, usually the kneecap area, has lapped skin. So you're trying to be extra careful, right? Those are just some like extra tips for more mature skin, for someone that may have more sagging skin through there. Keep that in mind. And then as I went through to the bottom, I don't know if you've noticed there at the feet, I do the feet insanely light. I do not like to spray tan the feet. I do an X pattern on my own feet. And because we're spray tanning our own feet at this higher angle compared to when we're spray tanning a client at this angle compared to this, you have to keep that in mind as well. You have to go extra light. I then go on I turn my feet, I turn my feet like that, and I'll get a little bit through here and a little bit through here, so we're well balanced. And then if you didn't notice, I pick up the brush and I blend. And that is how I do the lower part of the legs and the feet. If you have any questions on that, or if you're like, why are you stopping at the kneecaps? I already explained it, but if you have more questions, let me know right there. And I'm gonna finish up this side so you can watch. And that's why, you guys, you have a backup battery. see from when we started, I was really pale white. And now I feel like I have a beautiful color. Super, super light touch. That's one of my things. I have the golden finish as my signature. I like to do my first sprays on a lighter touch of a spray tan because you have more control, obviously, on the outcome compared to you overpowering someone and just thinking they should be bronzed. And I love a really light look. When I first started, if you didn't notice, I kept my chin up and I was going up like that to hit a very natural contour. It wasn't soft girl contour, it's just regular contour that I have as part of my regular spray tan. This is just the basics of me spray tanning myself. The back, we're gonna finish now so you guys can see the trapeze of how I spray tan the rest of my back because we have our base with our nice self tanner, as you can see, and we're gonna go through and finish the booty, the back of the legs. This is where it gets very interesting and a little bit difficult. I forgot to mention, by the way, when I prepped myself, I used, my barrier cream, which is what we should all be using for really quick and fast. If you're trying to not use any extra prep or after spray, like I said, I'm gonna test this by itself without any extras. I use sticky feet. So when I'm spraying myself, we're moving all around because of just us and the trapeze movements we're doing for ourselves. I use barrier cream on my feet, which is a secret. I'm sure if you haven't done that before, you should start doing it for yourself. And then I put on my sticky feet because of how sticky feet are. I usually don't use sticky feet for any clients besides brides. Okay, so we're gonna get started. It's a little awkward just because I'm gonna be doing the booty area, but this is how I do it to get majority of the angles and that bunny line underline. So stay tuned. You guys can see that line. Why do I only use sticky for brides? Great question. Sticky feet are super, super annoying because I believe they're overly sticky. And so majority of clients that I have on rotation every single week or new clients in general, I know how much barrier cream to put on them. I use sticky feet for brides usually just because if you think about it, they're wearing their amazing dress, their outfit, their shoes and their feet, usually, not all the time, but majority of the time are getting photographed. Imagine if for some reason someone, especially here in Arizona, has extra dry feet and it somehow gets oversaturated. It's just a buffer to make sure that the bottom of their feet, when they're moving and doing their poses, because like I mentioned, it's so dry here in Arizona that the barrier cream, if their skin is so dry, it already absorbed the majority of the barrier cream. It's an extra cushion to have it so that they don't get any craziness on the bottom of their feet from the spray tan. So it's just an extra buffer I put on there. It's not a must, but I just recommend it so that if you do have a bride, the last thing you want to hear is you did a beautiful spray tan, but the bottom of their feet, because they are moving around and they have such dry skin that it didn't have enough buffer. So that is another little tip. There we go. All right. Have you guys been able to see that process in the back so far of the legs and the booty? Hopefully you did, because I've lowered it a lot more. And one of the things that I do when I'm doing the back of the legs and the booty is, if you didn't notice, I'm like bending down as I'm doing it compared to like straight when we're spraying people. I'm moving my whole body with it to go to the spray tan. It's an awkward, like I said, it's an awkward trapeze that I say, like yoga positions that we have to do for ourselves, but it makes it a lot easier to get the areas that you're like trying to do. And if you're able to follow your gun as you're moving, so the horizontal spot that you're doing, it's going to make it so much easier. Does that make sense for everyone? Does anyone have a question on that? I'm going to do my booty area next, and then you guys will see the back part, but that's how I get the butt and the legs the best. And then you'll see the butts, especially right now. It's hard, but awkward. Yes, so let's make sure I can show the booty. Okay. All right, so that is how I get majority of my butt, just because we're live and I try to make it only for females. And if you're a male and you're streaming this on another platform, which you shouldn't be have access to, I just want to keep myself protected there. But as far as the booty area goes, as you can see, it's literally just going like you would through, and then I'll do X's diagonal. So I get those weird areas down here and the weird areas down there. And then I'll do kind of what I call just like this prayer hand, and then kind of pop my booty. And then I'll turn and I'll push out more so I can get the area that is obviously more spread. I'm not going to do that on the live just because I don't know all is watching on the platforms, but that should make it more sense for you ladies if you're trying to understand how to get your butt. Is you're literally going into this position, popping your booty, and then as you're spraying, you're down because obviously you're more spread and you have your legs out. Back, we're going to finish just so you guys can see. The whole idea of what I said when I first started was the goal is you have a base that you're starting your own back on, and that is a self tanner with an extender. There's almost no way that you're ever going to get your back with just spray tanning. You have to start with a back extender and a spray tan solution or self tanner. I like the self tanner because I know that it's going to have more of that even base. And then you're going to see, because it doesn't have a cord, it's a lot easier to use compared to with a cord. So you'll see how I move my hands and push my elbows out. That's literally how I'm going to get my back. All right, so like I mentioned, the main spot for getting the back is starting with your base that you're going across. And then I will get, again, my hands like this position. And I know it's so weird, and try to blend as much as I can with the spray tan on top of that. And because we started, I wanted to do this as efficient as possible. So we're now at 8:15, so it's about 40 minutes we've been in, and I've been spraying myself and we're done. Pretty impressive. And I've been talking a lot. But my point is, when you're spray tanning yourself, you want to get your base done first. And what I would normally do, but I did this to save time, is do my entire back. I wouldn't have this on or the tube that I started with, say that tube right here. and get my entire back really well. I would probably do 2 or 3 coats, to be honest, and then do the lower back as well. And then you saw how I used with my guns, my hands, my elbow to get across like that. And I just go down into motion, and then I'll get the brush and I'll stipple it. So that way you have more of a concise back that gets majority of it. And then you have your spray that you do on top of that, which has more of a balance. Obviously, it's never going to be perfect, but for being able to travel, go on business trips, and have an entirely, like, I think it looks pretty bomb. So let me know if you have questions, you guys. I'm obviously an open book. Let's see here. Let me turn down the music. All right. Have you ever tried doing that for the booty smiles too, using extender mousse? Yes, actually, that's a great question. Yes, I have. This is just like something like now, like if you're, I think almost everyone on here is a spray tan educator. It's the best way to get the areas that we're not able to get is start with the extender and then go into it. Your smiles are so bad. So are mine, because if you have a booty, it's literally one of the hardest things to do. But also the back area, the middle back, and then the lower back, it gets so uneven. So this is just the fastest way to do it as a spray tan educator for yourself if you don't have your hubby or a friend or a boyfriend to do it for you. I love getting it done. Like I said, I can spray myself in 5 minutes, and it's, as you can see, still super even. One of the biggest tips too is prep. I prepped myself last night and this morning. I have my own products. I sell the products. One of my favorite things is this guy. So it's the double-sided exfoliator along with this mask that I do. And I swear it gets all that crap because it's pH balance off. So as we all know as educators, that's a big, big thing. But I think a lot of people forget to make sure they have a really good glove. That glove I have, I'm going to be actually releasing that soon. But I think that is a big, big thing that people miss, because when you're spray tanning yourself, your back is obviously, if you have old DHA on it, it's not going to get as crisp of a finish. Let's see here. Any other questions, ladies? And I hope that you learned a refresher, you learned something new. If you want to take any more questions or anything like that, send me a direct DM. Oh, I forgot hands. So when I was going through my whole body, obviously, you're so welcome, Liz. I do the same thing on my hands that I do with my clients, and that's I hold like a grapefruit and then turn the dial, and I go down just like that. Because of how I was spraying myself though today, and I was using a new solution I've never even touched, I noticed that when I went like this, I was able to get majority of my hands, and that's based on the size of my own hands, right? So if you have some larger lady hands or have really small hands, you have to customize your own spray tan to yourself, just like you do your clients. So because I usually go like this and then turn, I obviously do it for all my clients, is my point. But because my hands are so small, I literally just had to do a little bit down, and that was all I needed today, because I feel like Glaze has a lot of bronzers. I could be wrong, but I feel like the color showed up really well and really fast. So we'll see how it turns out. Like I said, I didn't go too deep, and it was 14% DHA. So we'll see. If anyone wants to take a picture, they can. Ladies can take pictures. So you can see, let me do a full body. So if you want, this is the after. We should have probably done it before, but I'll have that in my chat. Ooh, this is another one for ladies that have permanent jewelry. I constantly blend when I spray that area. That is another little, I'm sure you do this, but you got to do it on yourself, because I just noticed I forgot as I'm talking to you guys that I didn't. So super, to me, the most basic thing to do is get your extender, get yourself tanner mousse. I love X-Tans because it's the same pretty much base as the one I use today. Also with Nuda, I would do the same thing. And if you have any questions, there's a membership that I have. There's one-on-one contouring that I teach. It should be on the QR code if you watch from your laptop. You have another question, send me a direct message. Let's get you on a discovery call. I'm going to do way more lives as like this. This is the first time for me to try this on multiple platforms. So we were literally live on like 4 other platforms, which is super cool. And happy Friday night, you guys. Have an awesome night. Bye. Love you guys. Love you, Meg. Love you, Liz. Love you, Kaylee. I'm seeing all Jules, Robin, Courtney, going through Candace. Oh my gosh. I'm catching up. I'm catching up to all the comments. Kaylee, love you all. Bye.